Oh, okay. Got it.
Okay. So why am I not seeing it?
Yep, it says we're live.
There it is. Now it is. All right. So let me get over here. Man, that's weird. What are you looking at? What in the world are you looking at?
I'm doing the DVD screen when it goes idle.
Oh, that's funny. Oh. You're a dork. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the church.
My head's too big for the frame.
What? Your head's too big for the frame?
My head's too big.
Yeah.
I got to do it further back.
His head's way too big for the frame. Hey, welcome to the Church Media Guys show, everybody. We are doing a little pre-show thing here. Just waiting for a few folks to join us before we start getting into the meat, listening to some music. I found a whole bunch of like dubstep stuff over on my Envato Elements account. Really cool stuff. So I hope you're enjoying it. Today, everybody, we will be talking about live streaming audio, and we're going to just kind of map out just like a basic setup. A lot of folks ask about how to get good audio in their live streams. You know, I'll be honest, I've seen it all. So I've seen people taking a wireless microphone and plugging it into their camera and sticking it next to the wireless microphone that's on their preacher, and that's fine. That's a great place to start. I've seen them have shotgun mics. I've seen them, you know, just like pick up whatever's coming off of the speakers in the room and stuff. And a lot of people want to know how to get much better, higher quality audio in. And so we're going to go over a basic setup. So let's say hi to Justin. I'll bring him up full screen. Say hi.
What's up, guys? What's going on? For the pre-show people, we got 12 people here. What's going on? Let us know where you're watching from. I had a fantastic Labor Day weekend. I did not work for about 36 hours, which was very, very nice. I probably not including including the car trip. I probably did not work from Saturday at 1 o'clock through Monday at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. That's probably the time I was not working. So
Good.
Almost 2 days. It was very nice. During that time, I call it Croc time, because during that time I only wear Crocs. I do not pack anything. I pack a swimsuit to wear all day on Sunday, and I don't even pack any shoes, sandals. I just pack my Crocs, and I say if I can't do it in Crocs, then I'm not doing it at all. So that was my weekend. It was lovely. I also, when I have Croc weekend, I also do not pack any hair gel. As you can see, my hair is very long.
Considerably unpoofed.
And my wife said, yeah, it actually looks pretty good. I think it might be time for a hairstyle. So I purposely did not do my hair today. I got a little side part going. Tried to get it a little bit messier like it looked like this weekend. But I feel like I look like Jim. Or
yeah,
Dwight,
you got a little Jim Halpert going on.
Jim, you know, just like my name is Jim Halpert. But anyways, I thought I'd wear it one day on the stream just to see. What do you guys think? Do you like the flip up, or do you like the side part? Let me sell you a car. That's how I feel.
Let me sell you a car.
My wife's been telling me to get a new hairstyle for a couple years, but I just always go with the flip. I like it. I think it looks good.
I like it. I think it looks good.
Yeah.
I mean,
but anyways, y'all.
What does she know?
I got a weird part right here. I have a. When I was a baby, a cow licked me right here.
Yep.
And I got a cow lick right here. I also have one right here on my beard, and it drives me nuts.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's very hard to shave evenly. John watching from Long Island, New York. Enjoy a tea for us, John. Amandito, New Jersey in the house. You and John can fight each other.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Good morning, Anita. Dwight, I'm so glad you're here. I'm gonna send you an email. I have a meeting right after this. I'm gonna send you an email. We got to reschedule our meeting.
So we have our own Dwight?
Well, we have the Dwight, formerly known as Big D 365 or whatever his name was. Dwight is a very busy man. He's got a lot of stuff on the horizon. I'm very excited. Dwight is, I'm going to be building his website, taking on that project, getting that off his plate. And dude stays busy caring for his family, caring for his flock or his future flock. Dwight, I just need like an hour with you and then we're good to go. So Rock is in the house. Mr. Church Makata. Rock and roll. Rockety rock. Come on, help me out, Dave. Rob Schneider. You got any other ideas? No?
Rock, making copies at the copy machine.
Rock lobster.
Rock and roll. Rockster. Rock.
Spider-Man fighting Eddie Rock.
Rocky.
Are we ready to start, Dave?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, we can.
And this is me when I've had a stressful morning.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Shane Bannerman. Shane, tell everyone how much you're enjoying the volunteer course. You texted me a little, or you emailed me a little bit about it. Let everyone else know because it's going live in a couple weeks. W. Norris 252 representing the 252. Andy is here. Awesome. Rock, we did a studio tour. Well, I mean, we not really a studio tour, like a vlog, but Dave walked through all his equipment. Probably a couple months ago. We walked through my equipment setup and then Dave's equipment setup. If y'all want to see a vlog style tour where Dave walks you through the studio and does a little walk-in thing, sits down, hey guys, what's up? My name is Dave. Let's walk through. And then he grabs the little selfie cam. He's like, oh, this is my thing right here. And if you want to see that, give this video a like. You want a Casey Neistat style tour.
Yeah, if you want me to Casey Neistat it up.
Rock wants to see the Star Wars gear.
Oh, yeah.
Shane said the volunteer course is awesome. Lots of great info and advice. Looking forward to getting awesome, engaged volunteers.
You bet.
Wonderful. Christopher said, Dave, such a bad impression of Dave. It's only a bad impression because I didn't follow it up with what you need. You know, you got to say, what's going on, guys? You want to see a setup of my tour of my setup? Let's go. Let's look at this camera. Let's look at this audio. Look at all this Star Wars stuff. My name is Dave. Thanks for coming to my tour. See, that was better.
Welcome to Cribs.
Live stream Cribs. All right, you ready, Dave?
Yeah. Let me get back over here. All right. You may have an absolutely amazing looking image, but if no one can hear you very well, then you're kind of wasting the entire live stream. Today, we are going to be talking about how to get some better audio quality into your live stream, and we're going to go over the basic layout of how you would do that. Hi, everybody. If you are just watching, then welcome. If you're just watching for the first time, then welcome to the Church Media Guys Show. My name is Dave. And if you want to learn how to leverage media and amplify the gospel and change lives, then you can start now by clicking the subscribe button and ringing the bell so that you won't miss a thing. With me, as always, is the man who has, like, taken, I don't know, 1 billion churches online, probably give or take, Mr. Justin Nava.
What's going on, Dave? What's going on, everybody watching? Glad to be here. I'm gonna be the simpleton that's just taking notes because you're the one that's been setting up audio, and you've got this huge Death Star setup in your church to get that pristine audio, and you've done similar setups across over the years. So you're the audio expert as we talk about audio today. But first, question of the day to the people watching live and on demand: what are you using? Man, that's hard to say. What are you using for your live stream audio? Are you coming in from your board? Are you just getting room sounds? We had someone, and I think it was an insider, that actually has a Yeti Blue mic. I've got one sitting on the floor right over there. They have a Yeti Blue mic sitting on the pulpit, and they're kind of like using that as their mic as they're live streaming, which is, I mean, hey, if that's what you got to do to get started, more power to you.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious, let us know in the chat, what are you using for your live stream audio? Before we get to today's hashtag, maybe I don't know if we can call him a sponsor. Before we get to today's recommended software, I also want to ask you guys a question.
Okay.
This weekend was Labor Day.
Yes.
My wife, I woke up and I
was
walked
in labor.
around, in my swim trunks all day, and I didn't do anything with my hair. And my wife was like, "Yeah, it looks pretty good. Maybe it's time for a style change." So let me know also, what do you think about this? I feel like Jim Halpert, or at least Dwight trying to pretend to be Jim. I don't know. I don't like it. I feel like the part is old school. Do you like the hair, or do I need to go get a haircut? Because I'm gonna go get a haircut in 3 hours unless you tell me not to. I'm just very curious. Anyway,
was she using her sarcastic voice?
You know, no, because I can pretty much tell, because my security goes way down.
Oh.
Just kidding. Yes, dear. No, I think she was really like, yeah, it's time for, because she's known me with that hairdo all along.
Mm-hmm.
And she's all women be changing their hair all the time, and maybe she's just tired of mine as much as she's tired of hers after a few years. So I don't know. I thought I'd let the live stream decide. Should I go get a haircut and flip my hair back up, or should I leave it long and, I don't know, go sell used cars or something? Dave, let's get to the tech.
Okay.
John says he's using room sound. They're live streaming with the phone, so they are getting room sound. Ooh,
okay.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
KCA said they are sending their A&H Q24 house mix into, I'm falling asleep reading this. They're sending their Q24 house mix into BM Web Presenter, then into OBS.
Okay.
Mondito said they're running the audio from the mixer to OBS. It sounds pretty good. Now there's OBS for DJ. Is that worth giving? I guess a new fork. OBS
maybe
for DJs.
so. Yeah.
I'm not sure why. I guess live stream DJs. Anyways, we've got some stuff all over the spectrum of people watching, and I'm sure even more watching later on demand. Dave, tell me why. Okay, we've got, we're ready to drop $2,000 on a camera. You're telling me we need another $100 to $700 for audio? What's the deal?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the most important things, first off, to understand is that if no one can understand what you're saying, then the quality of your video really doesn't matter, because they're looking at pretty pictures, but they're not really getting a message, unless you're just like really, really good and have like someone doing like live captions the whole time, and hearing it doesn't matter. But if it's scratchy, if it's real echoey, and by echoey I mean like reverberating off the walls because you've got a shotgun mic pointed at the speaker across the room, getting room sound, like one of our viewers just mentioned, it's not going to be the best experience for our viewers. And we have to remember that our goal as church media folk and people that are running the live stream or producing video or producing audio content is to help the viewer, the person who is at the other end of our stream, whether they're on their television or on their laptop or on their phone or their iPad or what have you. We want them to be able to get the best experience possible, and we don't want them to get bored, and we don't want them to have to, what did he say? And turn the volume up as loud as he can, and is that a baby crying? We don't want to confuse them or give them any kind of reason to disengage from the stream and not get the message that we're trying to get out. So it's very important that we get good quality sound. Would you agree with that assessment?
100%. Like I always say, because you know me, they call me out of context Justin.
Okay.
I believe it says it in the Bible. The
Yes.
gospel comes from hearing, and hearing good. Mm-hmm. So, you want to share the message, you got to have good audio. And I say that jokingly, but seriously, like, it doesn't matter how good you look. If it sounds terrible, people will change the channel. Remember when, or possibly still had this now, cable TV, you watch a show and then the commercials come on 10 decibels louder than the actual TV show.
Yeah.
And you're like, to turn it down. and then the TV show comes on and you're like, oh man, turn it up. How many times do you end up just switching it to something else or just muting the commercials, and then you miss part of the show because the sound is that important.
Right.
Not only that, I mean, how many times do we get frustrated when we buy this new 2.5 or 3.5 or 5 whatever surround sound speaker system or sound bar, and then we watch old movies that are not audio corrected to this 2.5 or whatever sound system that you have, and so the music and the sound effects are way too loud and the talking is way too soft. You get very frustrated. You either change the channel or you turn off your new $800 $1,000 speaker system, or maybe more, because it doesn't matter that you got a 4K signal. You are going to be frustrated if that sound doesn't work, period.
Right.
So sound is just as, nay, I say more important, because they got to hear the gospel, and we will forgive pixely pictures, even overblown pictures, as long as we can hear and understand you. That's the most important part.
That's exactly right. So before we get moving into this, I want to tell you guys about a company that we like working with. It's called Restream, and if you go to getrestream.com, you can get a $10 credit when you sign up. And what is Restream? Basically, it is a way to syndicate your live stream without overloading your computer or your internet connection. So if you're, like right now, I'm using vMix on a Windows 10 PC right here, and I've got multiple cameras coming in, and everything I'm doing is like making my GPU. Right now I'm recording and I'm streaming, and my GPU is about 43%, and my CPU is at about 26, 25, it's 29. It's fluctuating. As I talk about it, it gets shy. And so the resources of that machine are being used, and the more things that I have going on that machine, the more those resources are going to be used. So right now I'm live streaming and I'm making a local recording. So that is two H.264 encoding sessions. I am doing, in essence, a live recording twice. One of them is being encoded and streamed out. The other one is being encoded and recorded to the hard disk. Okay. Now, if I wanted to stream to something besides YouTube, like stream to our Facebook page, then those numbers, the GPU numbers and the CPU numbers, the resources that I have would get taxed even more, because I've added another recording session or a streaming session, okay? Recording and streaming are basically the same thing. What's happening is you're making that video signal, getting it crunched, and sending it somewhere. If I wanted to go to our Facebook group, now I've got 3 places that I'm streaming to and 1 place that I'm recording to. I've got 4 sessions going on this. I'm overloading it. It's going to start. I've got to get more specs. I've got to have a bigger CPU. I've got to have more memory. I've got to have a better video card. Well, you don't have to worry about that if you use a service like Restream. So go to getrestream.com, and what you can do is you can stream one time to Restream. So our signal right now, even though we're only going to YouTube, is actually going to Restream. And then I've got all the different accounts set up in there, all the different platforms that I want to stream to, and all I have to do is turn them on, and all of a sudden they just duplicate that stream and send it to that place. So literally right now, if I wanted to, I could go into Restream. In fact, I'm going to show you. Y'all watch this. This is going to blow you away. Let me switch over to this. There we go. All right, so here we are in Restream, and it's maybe kind of hard for you to see, but I've got several different things. I've got Church Media Hacks Facebook group. I've got the Church Training Academy group. We work with Ecamm, so I've got the Ecamm stuff listed down here. If I wanted to go live on Ecamm's channel right now, I flip this little switch, boop, and it goes on, okay? If I want to go to the Church Media Hacks group, boop, I turn it on. Doesn't matter. All that is happening at Restream, and all I am doing is sending one signal up my line. I'm sending like 3 megabits right now up my line. I'm not messing up my internet connection. I'm not overloading. I'm not doing anything like that, but I can go as many places as I want with Restream. So go check it out. It is cool. Justin, would you say that Restream is cool?
I would say it's the coolest.
I agree.
Dave.
I agree.
Yeah, let me put it in terms for the non-techie people watching. You send out one stream and they duplicate it to as many places as you want, when you want, how you want it done. You don't got to run 2. We had people in the hacks group that was like, how do I do Facebook and YouTube at the same time? And people were like, oh yeah, run 2 instances of OBS, or run an output to a separate laptop and then run it. It's like, no, just Restream.
GetRestream.com.
It's
That's
so
simple.
Easy. So it's so much easier. So GetRestream.com.
Hey, let's talk about the basic idea behind doing our audio and getting our audio. Basically, the way most churches are set up, the average church is going to have a, excuse me, it's going to have a sound booth, and there's going to be somebody in there with a mixer, and you're going to be having your microphones going into it. And you're probably using some wireless mics. You may have a snake of some kind going through your wall. What that means is you may have like a box up on the stage where you can like plug mics and other instruments and stuff into, and then just like one big fat bundle of cables, working its way through the wall and going into your soundboard. A lot of churches have not gotten digital boards, so we're going to start with the basic idea with an analog board, okay? Which is one that you're going to have that snake. You're going to have a patch panel maybe on the stage or something, and then you're going to have like another panel here in your booth, and microphone 1 goes into 1 and then comes out of 1 and goes into the back of your soundboard, okay? Now, that's great because you've got your amps, you've got your speakers, and everybody in the room can hear it. And what's going to happen is that your audio person is going to basically be listening to what's going on inside there. I can barely hear the piano. I need to push the piano volume up a little bit. The drums are kind of loud. I'm going to take the drums mic out because he's in the room with us and everybody can hear him anyway, so why have his mic on? The guitar is a little soft, so I'm going to bring the guitar up, and Shirley is not singing very loud, so I'm going to turn her mic up, and you're just listening to it in the room, and it sounds great because they're making adjustments in the back as needed for whatever's going on inside the room. Okay, that's your basic type of setup at your church. And basically, if you're doing a digital setup as well, it's basically the same idea. It's just that you're not going to have like a snake of analog cables and stuff. You're going to have like some internet. It's like some networking stuff that happens in there. It's going to get all switched over to, a computer signal and then decoded when it gets back to the board. So, anyway, basic idea. Now, the problem is that while it sounds great in the room, and you can hear the clarity of your French horn if you've got a band, and you can hear the guitar, and you can hear the bass player really good, and the drummer is just going crazy behind his little cage. When you start listening to it as a recording, if you were to just put on earphones and listen to that without being able to hear anything inside the room, okay, like you're completely isolated, like a recording would be, you are going to notice that things don't sound right. That I can't hear the drums. I can see a drum, and I hear a little something over one of the mics, but I don't hear them anywhere as clear as I should. The piano's too loud, and the bass player is way too loud, and Sheila is blaring because it's not mixed for just your headphones or just a recording or just your ear. When you're doing it live in the room, you've got the acoustics of the room. You've got things bouncing off the walls. You've got people sitting there absorbing some of the sound. You've got just the physical aspect of being across the room, and you are making those speakers sound nice and clean. When you get to the recording, everything's off. So, first things first, at the most basic level, okay, if you want to get good sound or decent sound, then you could just take the signal coming from that board. You could duplicate your headphone signal, or you could use, like, if it's got like tape out or control room out or something like that, you could take one of these cords. Let's see, I've got one right here. Take one of these cords, one of these little, mini to left and right, to RCA. Most of these are going to have your soundboard for like the tape out or record out or control room or something. May have like RCA jacks on it. Plug them in, and then take this and run it into the input, the mic or the line input on your computer, and you will basically be getting that non-perfect sounding mix audio. But what you will be getting is a clean audio signal coming in. Okay? When you're using a microphone on the camera, whether it's a built-in microphone on the camera, whether it's the built-in microphone if you're doing it through your iPhone, or whether it is a shotgun mic, a really nice one, mounted on your camera and kind of pointed at one of the speakers, you're still going to be getting the acoustics of the room. It is as if you are a person sitting in that room. So you're going to hear the echo. You're going to hear when somebody drops their, their thing, whatever, drops their book or something, or when the person coughs, or, Mr. Smith has his really bad coughing fit, or is jangling the change in his in his pocket. Justin, we had this guy when I was growing up, Mr. Hauser, and I swear the guy carried like $12 worth of coins in his pocket, and it was so funny because we would be praying, and it could be him leading the prayer, the during prayer meeting, or the benediction or something like that. But he always had his hands down in there, and I literally stood there and watched him. He was always fumbling the change, and I literally I cracked up. I literally watched him reach down into the bottom of his pocket while he's praying, and he pulls it up to the top, and I see him dropping it inside. So he was scooping and anyway.
He probably went to school with my grandfather-in-law, because he always had a pocket full of change. Not only that, silver dollars.
Yeah.
So they probably went to the same school sometime.
Yeah, I just had to share that with you.
Which was the sister school of the always carry mints in your pocket.
Yes.
And then during prayer, take them out and just spend 30 to 40 seconds opening it, because mints always taste better when you take that long to.
Exactly.
And it's like, come on, get some Altoids or something.
So we would hear him. We would hear Mr. Hauser dumping the change in the middle of his prayer, because our camera mic or the shotgun mic or whatever is picking up whatever's happening in that room. So, at the very least, if we had just our whatever's coming out of the board cleanly going into the computer, the laptop, desktop, whatever it is that you're using for live streaming, if we had that going in, it would be great. Now, some people like to take that signal and actually send it into the camera and then let the camera go into the thing. I just would recommend you guys didn't do that. I personally wouldn't ever do that. I kind of like my audio to go into my audio, and I like my video to go into my video, and we don't have to mix the two. So just a heads up on that. So that is a very, very basic setup, and the music is not going to sound great because it's not going to be mixed right for the viewer, okay? But the spoken stuff is going to be sounding just fine because you just have the pastor talking. So it's not like you're trying to mix the pastor with a guitar and the drums and the piano. It's just going to be the pastor talking. So that's going to be nice and clear, okay? That is something that everybody can do today. I mean, you could run up to the church and run a cable from the soundboard into the laptop, and boom, you're set, okay? Now, the next step in doing something like that is to not use the jack on your laptop, but to actually use like an audio interface of some kind, okay? On the low end, I like to get these. I have a couple of these sitting around, and these are just basically just USB audio interfaces. They've got, let's see, they've got line in, they've got line out, they've got headphones so I can monitor it, and it's a clean interface. And it's got a long cable, so so you don't necessarily have to run this cable 6 feet down the board, from one end of the table to the other or whatever. You could have this meet it halfway, get it out. One of the things that I love about these is that you're using the USB connection, so you're getting the sound into the system from the outside of the system, okay? I know that sounds weird. When you're going in through the audio jack that's on your computer, it may not be clean sounding, or there's maybe something a little wrong with the jack. You keep putting your headphones in and stuff. I mean, it may have gotten worn out, so you may get a little hum or something like that. They're not the most high fidelity, audiophile level kind of inputs on there, and they can get worn out. So I always want to use this because it's just USB, and basically I can upgrade this and get any kind of quality that I want if I want to just take it up to the next level, the next level, the next level, okay? The next step beyond that is to try to actually segment out and remix what is going into your live stream, okay? If you could have your own mix to some degree, and you could control the music level and the voice level, you could maybe fix some of that weird sound. Wouldn't you agree, Justin?
Yeah, it's a bit like it's a bit like getting those pre-made meals from your grocery store. I think a lot of them have them now where you can just go up and essentially buy a meal prep, like, oh, chicken Alfredo, oh, pasta fagioli, or oh, lasagna. And it's like, oh, Dave, calm down. Okay. Yeah, I know I have an Italian accent. Calm down. But you grab it and you eat it and you're like, man, it's doesn't have the right seasoning or it's not cheesy enough. I make an amazing Alfredo sauce, but my family had Olive Garden last night because we just traveled all day. We just wanted to pick up something for dinner. And you eat it and it's so watered down. It's not seasoned well enough. And so that's kind of what you get when you bring your raw audio, your radio from your house mix into your stream. Like you get something there, but like those meal preps, like those to-go orders, it's like, man, it's watered down, it's seasoned wrong, it doesn't have the right balance of flavor. Whereas if you can bring those raw ingredients into your own mix and then adjust it, like I could probably use the same ingredients as Olive Garden, or they could use the same as me.
Mm-hmm.
But because we adjust the quantities, the end result comes out so different. I think that's true for any recipe.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell I haven't eaten today? I want lunch, Dave.
Apparently.
So
in your case,
the same thing. You can take those raw ingredients and you can make your own mix. So you have a great house mix and you have a great broadcast mix.
Exactly. Or you can take that prep and add a little extra spice to it, so now it tastes better.
Give it a little bam.
Yes. Very good, Emerald. All right, so let's take a look at how that could happen. I've got a little diagram here for you guys to look at. Real basic setup. The big one right here, this giant job, is your mixer at your the main mixer for the room. Okay, so this is like the mixer that your sound person is sitting at and making everything sound great in the room. Okay, the little one is a mixer that you have in between your live streaming computer and your big mixer. And so what you can do, depending on the kind of setup you have, is you could actually take some of the channels from here and from the big one and gang them up together and send them into one of the channels on the little one. Okay, so look at it like this. A lot, especially if you're using an analog board. Okay, if you haven't gotten like a Behringer X32 or a big old Soundcraft or whatever, if you haven't gotten a major upgrade to your audio system at your church in a while, you've got an older analog soundboard. Okay, most of those soundboards do have auxiliary outputs. What is an auxiliary output? It may be the output that you use to send some of the signal back to the stage for the monitors. If you got monitors on your stage, they need to hear some of the music, so you use one of those channels, aux1, and you send various channels, because when you're looking at that board, it has, in fact, I may actually have a picture of one. Hang on one second here. It may have, it'll have outputs on there so that you can, in fact, do I have one here? No, not on this little guy. You'll have outputs on there that you can send the signal to. Let me pull up a picture of one so that you guys can see. Is this one good enough? If I can make it big enough, that would be great. Okay. Yeah, okay. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to go back over here. All right. So, excuse me. All right. So this just a audio board here. But you see right there, see those blue lines, or those blue different channels right there? So like up at the top, we got the green ones and the white ones and the blue ones. Those are the different auxiliary outputs. And what that means is whatever's going into each of those channels, I could send a copy of that signal out one of those lines. So, you've got your sliders down here, and the sliders are adjusting what the people hear in the room, okay? But if I turn one of these knobs, like that very first one, if I move up to aux 6, and let's say I have that going to the speakers up on the stage for the band to hear, I could turn that level up independently, and the people on the stage will hear more or less of whatever's going into that channel, okay? So what you can do is with these aux channels, depending on your board, depending on how many you have, you could take some of the various types of signals and send them out of there, and then that gives you an input to go into another mixer, okay? Like back over here, So this mixer right here, the little mixer, the big mixer here, we could take, say, the 3 worship team people, and we could put them on aux 1, and then I could plug a cable into the back of the unit here and run it into channel 1 here on the small mixer, and now I've got all 3 of those people on my little mixer that I can bring up or down. So I can't necessarily control, Bob versus Sherry, who's louder. I'm going to let the sound person take care of that, but at least I could have those 3 separated from anything else that's going in there. So I could have, say, aux 1 would be, say, my worship leader and my pastor. Why those 2 together? Because they usually don't do things together. The pastor's not up there with his mic on, his countryman, singing, while the worship leader is leading the worship. Pastor's usually off to the side or down on the floor. So they can each be on, say, channel 1. And then we could take the 3 people from the praise team, and we can put them in aux 2. And then we've got a couple of guitars and a bass player. Let's put them in aux 3. Depending on how many you have is how you'd want to split these things up, okay? If you've got 4 of them that aren't being used, so aux 4 could be the drummer. I could put all the instruments in one and put the drummer in another one. And why would I want to put the drummer in another one? Because the sound for the drum may be really low for the room, but on the board I could go to that little aux channel, that green one or whatever, and I could turn it up for my mix. So on my board, the little one, I'm seeing it, really coming through nice, and I could mix them all. That gives you the ability to basically remix the current mix that's going on, okay? That will allow you to have a much cleaner and more controlled and precise type of mix for your live stream. Does that make sense, Justin?
100%. I had to take myself off mute.
Sorry.
100%. I'm taking diligent notes here.
Okay. So the basic idea like that in the analog world with an older mixer, okay, is basically the same when you have digital mixers. So at our church, we have a couple of digital mixers. They're actually older ones, but they're still digital. And so we have an interface that allows the 2 of them to talk to each other. You may have heard of Madi, M-A-D-I, or you may have heard of Dante. Those are a couple of standards that are out there that allow digital mixers to talk to each other. And they also allow for a digital mixer to talk to a computer. So you can actually go as big as you want and detailed as you want or as small as you want. In our case, Justin, what we've done is we have our big old, $20,000 mixer over here, and we've taken each channel and we've put it, we've assigned it to a number, to a channel on that Madi, because we're using Madi, we're not using Dante, but on that interface. So we've got a big old 32 or 48 channel board that we have, and we have a 16 channel PreSonus board, which is a digital board. So I've got 16 channels that I can use on there. So on my big board, it's like, what can I do? I'll take the pastor and I'll take the worship pastor, and we'll send them out to 1 and 2. Okay, and then I can take my electric guitar. I got 2 electric guitars. So electric guitar 1 is going to go to number 3, and electric guitar number 2 is going to go to number 4. I got the drummer. Now he's got a bunch of mics, so we're going to take that, and that gets put into a subgroup, and those kind of all get put together, and that gets sent out to number 5. Our worship team, or our background singers, praise team, whatever, we have 2 people, so I'm going to take those 2, and they'll be grouped together, and they'll be sent to number 6, et cetera, et cetera. And now I have this nice little mix. I want to bring up the praise team a little bit more. I'm going to bring up the worship pastor. Hey, I'm going to turn up some reverb for the worship pastor, because on my board I can do it according to the channels. I'm able to have finer control over the mix for what I'm doing. It may seem really complicated, but it's not. It's basically, if you think about it, it's like making a copy. It's like splitting. It's like taking the cable and then putting a Y adapter on the cable, and now half of it's going over here and the other half of it's going over here. But it's all happening inside the computer. Whether you're doing it digitally or analogically, you can get a much finer control of your mix and much better experience for your viewers, and I encourage everybody to do it. Do you have any questions?
None. Let me check the chat here. So yeah, you're answering. A lot of people had a question about
Okay.
the analog stuff, which I think you got to. Shane said he's got a digital PreSonus, but it's older and it doesn't have, or it has a Thunderbolt connection, but he can't connect it to the laptop.
Because
oh,
his
FireWire.
It has a FireWire connector.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You may want to look and see if there is like a FireWire to Thunderbolt or FireWire to USB 3 adapter that may do the trick for you.
Yep. AJ said he's looking to go digital at his home church. Shane also asked, a little bit off topic, house sound for the video.
Sure.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so ambient sound is what you're talking about for that. And yes, that there's a few things you can do to enhance the deadness of the recording. If you, just go back to listening to tapes and stuff, and CDs of musicals and things like that y'all recorded at your church and stuff. It's like there's no life to the recording. You may hear in the background some people applauding and stuff, but it's just like it's not live, like you're experiencing in the room. So a few things you can do. One of the things that we do is on our PreSonus board, we actually have 2 digital effects channels built in on the board. So I've got one of them set for one level of reverb, and I've got the other one set for a different type of reverb. And then I put them on certain things at certain times. So what that gives is a little bit more of that when you're in the room. And I was talking about how the guy who is the person that's doing the mixing, they're hearing things echoing off the walls and all that, and they're making adjustments so that the people that are sitting in the seats can have a good experience. When you're doing that, there's that natural echo that happens in the room. There's that reverb. It's bouncing off the hard surfaces and hitting you a little bit later than, it's like the sound is coming directly at you from the speakers, but then it's also bouncing around and coming at you again a little out of phase, and you get that echo, you get that life to it. So when you're doing that, you can add that type of an experience into your mix. When it comes to getting ambient sound in the room, you can do something like take an SM58. You have to remember that the SM58 is a dynamic mic, so it's if something is happening, it's like this mic. This mic is it's the brother to the SM58. The further away I get from it, the less you're going to be able to hear me. In fact, I may have gone away altogether. I didn't even check. Watch. Let's try it. Test. Okay. So that same kind of thing is going to happen when you're using an SM58, but you can get a condenser mic. You could get, in fact, what I've done at our church is we have those choir mics that are like those pencil mics that are on those really thin poles, so you can barely see them, and they're like in the back and they're pointing down at the choir so that we can, get all the choir. Well, when we have those connected, if we don't have the choir back there, what I will do is like when people are laughing or when people are doing responsive readings or something like that, I'll just turn those up, because they're condenser mics, which means they're going to be able to pick up more faint sounds in the room than a dynamic mic. Okay, they're kind of, the signal gets kind of boosted before it ever gets sent to the board, for lack of a better term. So you can do that same thing. You could take a little pencil mic or a little shotgun mic and mount it in the balcony. You could mount it on the stage facing towards the audience. You could mount it off to the side. Up above, shooting down to the audience, something like that, and add that to your mix to add a little bit more of that airiness, a little more of that reality. So you do hear the baby cry just a little bit, but not overpowering like if you were just using the mic that's built onto the camera. So I would definitely do with that. I would play with that and try your different positioning and stuff. You got to remember that a mic like that is also going to be picking up what's coming from the speakers as well. So try to position it so that it's not like shooting straight at the speaker and anything in between you and the speaker, but maybe shooting from the stage to the audience who is talking to it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. What else?
I don't. I'm at the point where I'm like, all right, I know. Let us know in the chat if you got any other questions about audio, me personally, I've always, in my limitations of live streaming, I've always run we always ran into the camera and then into the computer, obviously through the capture card, but we had it going through a monitor channel, so we could kind of tune it inside the monitor channel. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. The monitor channel is basically another aux, basically when you think about it. Yeah, it's basically another type of an aux send. When you're looking at these boards, some of them may say aux 1, aux 2, effects 1, effects 2, whatever. What they are basically is sending the signal out of the board somewhere else. Okay, because your soundboard, at its most basic level, your soundboard has a whole bunch of inputs. Mic jacks and line plugs, so you can plug instruments and microphones and all that kind of stuff into it. And then you have like the left and right main outs, that go to an amplifier or that go directly to speakers that are already pre-amplified or whatever. And everything comes in and it goes out gets mixed and goes out to the speakers. Well, there's other things. There's all these other channels because, like we talked about, a monitor channel, if you got those little wedge monitors up on the stage, then you want to be able to send the piano to the person who is standing there singing because they're getting piano accompaniment, but the piano is way back over here and they may not be able to get good sound. I can barely hear the piano because my ears are facing this way and the piano's over there and doesn't have the top up. I mean, so you have a speaker that you can take the piano sound and feed it back to this person. So now they can hear the piano right there in front of them, even though it's off to the side or whatever. If you're using tracks, you use those where you feed the music into the monitor so that people can hear it. When you have, and especially in an analog setup, you may have a rack that has various processors, like a reverb processor or an EQ or something like that. That's what these effects channels or these auxiliary send, these aux channels. You can take the signal for each one of those and send it out of the board into that box, have done whatever, have it EQ'd or have it compressed or have reverb added, and then it goes back in so that when you're moving the slider up and down, the changed signal, the altered or perfected signal is what's coming out of the speakers instead of just the raw, just the microphone coming in, the unaltered thing. But we can use those things to our advantage by sending those signals, not returning them, but sending them to an auxiliary mixer so that we can have a little bit better control over them. So I hope this has clarified this muddy idea. I hope I've helped you guys understand the basic concept. Now, it's up to you guys to figure out how you can employ it with the things that you've got.
And that is what CTA Insiders is here for. Go to churchtrainingacademy.com/join. We meet 4 times a month, and you can sit with Dave and talk, because there's no point in sitting with me. I know nothing. Sit with Dave and talk through your setup, your equipment, your hardware, your cable, your budget, your building, your sound, your band, your speaker. Go through all the individual aspects of your worship, and he can give you a personalized, tailor recommendation or things to think about or the right questions to ask that you can then come back and say, all right, here's what we have. And then Dave can give you an absolute, like, okay, this is my best suggestion. So go to churchtrainingacademy.com/join. If you really want to hammer this and get it fixed and stop spending so much time on trial and error, join us at churchtrainingacademy.com/join. That would be the best place to move forward if you want to move forward quickly and onto greener pastures.
I concur. What he said.
All right, Dave, what are we supposed to do with all this?
Hey, like I said, take everything that we've been talking about, take the ideas, take the concepts, start putting them into action, and use it to go change lives. We will see y'all in the next video. Take care.